Sibukela kubani magunja. Masibe obala.
Keep energy. So where you're coming from. So even that, your voice should start high. Don't let it dip too low, too early.
Inkohlakala basezihlalweni ezinkulu.
Sign up.
Odale wami nginikeza ithuba ngithemba sizoba right. Obamba lwami nginikeza ithuba ngithemba sizoba right. So I believe that my voice amplifies other people's voices in our community, and the experiences that I've been through, and what I also see the situations in my community. I feel like I have to use my music to amplify or to make it viable and be heard to other people that need them. My song talks about unemployment and salary imbalance. Well, I chose that because as I'm stating that some of the things are part of my experience. You know, you go to work and then sometimes you don't get paid, sometimes you get paid less. And in my community, there's a lot of youths that don't have jobs. And to some extent, you find them using drugs and all just to keep themselves entertained, you know. So I was like, this will be the best thing, you know, to use to talk to people. If I'm to put it in percentages, I believe that in my community, there's about 75% of youths that are unemployed. And when we go back to the drawing board, we realize that it's not because there are no jobs, but it's because the government hasn't really opened up to say, let's create this in this community, or let's have projects that are going to be opening opportunities to these youths that are there. But then I realized that also because of that, most people, they tend to, you know, use different ways of trying to make money and make a living out of whatever they are doing. So you find that we've got graduates that are selling in them cigars and all. They are teachers and all. Vamwe vatokarira ma-certificates at homes. So it's really a delicate issue that people need to look at. It affects them to a greater extent. As I'm saying that if you are unemployed and you're supposed to be the breadwinner at home, or let me say if you are working and you're not getting enough income, let's take for instance the situations that are happening like the power cuts, water shedding and all. You will need to have a backup plan when there isn't enough supply of that. You will need to buy maybe a solar panel, or you'll need to have a JoJo tank that will store water. But how are you going to get that if you're getting less than what you have to supply at home? So you can check the imbalance of the salaries and the daily life expenditures, you see. And well, with that, which is why I'm saying it's to a greater extent, because there isn't any help that you would see coming anytime soon for such families. I think leaders should be on the ground. I think leaders should be really with the community and surveying what's really happening on the ground, because I believe that our leaders, they don't really step down to see what's really happening on the ground. And also, maybe if it's hard to open factories, try to give youths projects that they are going to do according to their liking, according to their passion, so that they can monetize from the projects. And also, let's forget about having this thing that pangu pangu all the time, you know? You need to think for the next generation. What are they going to do when you are no longer there, you know? What are they going to have? What legacy are you leaving to the community on the ground? The creative process. That's an interesting question. Well, when I sat down to structure the song, because when you're doing a production, you have to write, you have to be in the zone of the productive side of it all. So I went through my community. I checked what's really bothering them. So I was like, okay, if this mainly is the issue that's there in my community, let me put it into writing. So I sat down, I structured my song with what I have seen and what I've experienced. And then from then, we then structure the melodies and all, so that we can go to the studio and lay down the whole idea of the lyrics into a melody and a tune. And then from there, we've got our song. It hurts me to say that sometimes we fight for things that we don't get. So my point of view is, we have been talking about transparency, we've been talking about honesty, we've been talking about, you know, all these things. Going back to fighting corruption and all. But then we haven't really seen the change in all that. So what I'm saying is, how can you deal with a virus that's there with a virus? But we need to have an antivirus that's going to destroy the virus that's already there. So what I'm saying is, the questions that youths have, they don't have answers. Who is going to give those answers? So the emotion around it is very sad. So it got me into a zone of breaking down, because I was in the same situation. And every time I would be like, where am I going to get these answers that I have? No one is there to give me the answers. But then I still need a solution for that. With this music, we are saying we want change. Instead of the questions they have, let there be solutions and answers to the question they have. That is the main impact of the song that has to deliver. Change, answers, and solutions. Let's bring them to the table, and let's have people enjoying living in their country with peaceful minds and happiness. I've always been looking up to some artists who also gave me hope. I'm saying, do not give up. Do not let your dream drift away from you because of the situation you are in at the moment. Because look up, you know, at the bright side. There is hope for everyone.